We're back. No losses, just lessons with Saba, Baptiste, and Mike Trigg. We're going to focus on this series of family dynamic and faith. Saba.
Yes, hi. Thank you, and welcome back to No Losses, Just Lessons. No Losses, Just Lessons.
There you go.
We are going to continue our conversation about faith and family dynamics, and we want you to join in and just listen to some of the experiences and some of the advice that we might share with the public, okay? And this is just for educational, so we want you to enjoy, sit back, and listen.
Okay, so first of all, we didn't do this on the last segment, so I'm gonna tell you a little about myself. My name is Michael Trigg, from Tampa, Florida, educator by trade. I have a bachelor's degree in physical education, a master's in athletic administration, and EDS and ed leadership. I'm All-American at Stillman College. I taught in the District of Hillsborough County for 8 years. I stopped teaching to open this barbecue place where we're at right now. We're live at Konan BBQ. I'm the owner. God's blessing. Thank you.
So, you want me to do this?
Please.
Okay, so my name is Saba Baptiste. I arrived in Tampa, Florida, year 2000. Been here ever since. I have, if we're talking about education, so my highest degree is a doctorate in organization leadership. My minor in the doctorate program is urban studies. So I'm going to leave that educational part there and just say that I 10 years in the military, and also I taught in the Hillsborough County Public Schools for 12 years, but my primary job in the Hillsborough County Schools was a district resource teacher where I taught ESOL and adult education. So I do a lot of community functions. I served on the NAACP for 6 years as the education chair. And also I done a lot of volunteer work for the Hillsborough County Public Schools to help improve quality of education for specifically Black students, but all students as well. And my most popular job is being a parent. So thank you.
Yeah, well said, Saba. So we're gonna continue on from last segment, the family dynamic, and I think that it's probably gonna start with Saba. On the last segment, she said how we failed to educate our kids about the past, meaning our great grandparents and grandparents and how rough they had it, and that's why I think, in my opinion, I think that's why the kids are kind of lost and kind of struggle today, don't understand their responsibility to the culture. Because I can remember as a kid, my grandmother, I had like maybe 25 cousins. We would all sit down in the den on a Saturday, and she was playing Roots, and she would be the narrator because I was so young, I really couldn't follow it if I didn't have a narration. So, and I was able to do that for Mike. He's the child that I had the opportunity of raising. But the rest of my kids, I couldn't do that for. So I think a lot of times, even in Tampa, a lot of people we failed in that department, in my opinion. I think that if we had done that, they'll have more of a sense of where we come from and understand where we're trying to go. What do you think, Saba?
No, I agree with you. One of the things that I mentioned that I didn't elaborate on the first show is that I was one of the co-authors of the African American Studies for Hillsborough County Public Schools. And the conversation started because it's actually a law, it's a Florida law. And it's incumbent of every person to know their history. And it's super important for Black children to know their history. And it also helps them to understand the value system that we're trying to instill, and it also promotes the culture. And self-identity is what's really critical in our community. And we see it that children that have high self-esteem, meaning know who they are, they do much better in school. We understand that children understand the ancient African all the way to the present understands what the expectations are from their ancestors. So yes, I agree. We need to start back teaching who we are, where we come from.
Most definitely, and you see it because, you know, like if you like month of February, they only know 2 or 3 movement makers. You know what I'm saying? Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks. You know, and that's so crazy because those was 3 of the big ones, but we had so many more.
So many more.
And you know, and we fail to educate our kids. So, like we said, this podcast is created for only 2 purposes, really, to educate and uplift.
Yes.
And the thing we want to do most is educate. Right. So if you're looking at this podcast, please share it, and don't just share it, but just kind of listen to what we're saying. And if you're not doing what we're asking you to do, I think it would help if you did it. That's what we're trying to get you guys to understand out there, because a lot of times they say we're perish for lack of knowledge. Well, I'm gonna be an open book on this podcast. My life experiences, I'm gonna dive right in with you guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna share a lot of stuff for you guys to kind of understand. It was a hard road, and really I'm becoming for the men, because guys, you know, the situation that we put ourselves in. I'm gonna say it again: the situation that we put ourselves in. We had these babies. You know, if we wasn't married, that's the situation we did. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be able to lie in that bed, you know, and move forward with your life, man. You know, it's going to be some things that's going to be kind of hard and unfair. At the end of the day, God gives the grace because He gets us up every morning. If you got breath in your body, you still got a chance to make it right.
That's true. We get to reset every day. We get to thank the Creator for allowing us to wake up, to do better, to leave the world better than we found it. Children is our legacy. If you want to know what kind of person you are, look at your children. Your children kind of like emulates their parents without them even knowing it. So we have major problems in the school system, in the community, and some people say even in our homes. So if we want strong children, we have to be strong parents, we have to be a strong community, and go back to educating and nurturing and teaching.
100% correct on that. I just to piggyback on what you're saying, like far as saying, a lot of times we don't know where to start, you know, and for me, I was just like that, but I just jumped out there and started doing things. And I think that people look at me as I'm a pillar of the community now, but I'm disobedient to God. That's what it's about with me. Because of my obedience, He blesses me in everything that I'm a part of. My children are blessed. This business is blessed. You know, the community, I try to be a blessing to the community, because if you just everybody say, well, I don't know what to do. Well, just start. If you just start somewhere. Help somebody in need, and it'd be a domino effect. But if nobody said, well, I don't really know what to do, man, we'll never get started, we'll never get done, anything accomplished, you know. So I don't know, man, we just got to do better about being a better person, better people in the community as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I do a lot, but I got some good people with me now. I got the Chop Shop, I got Daryl Newton, I got Torres, my producer of this show right now. I got Knott Jenkins. You know, he's a businessman in the community. I got Larry Barton. You know, all these guys, man, that come, they see my vision and they partake in it. They might not be on the show with me, but if I need funding for something, they'll put money with me so we can reach more people. You know, so I mean, you know, we always need more help, more resources. Come on now.
Yes. So just remember, charity begins at home. You can't go out and help when your home or your community is falling apart. Like Michael just said, collaboration, collective collaboration is where we need to go. You know, sometimes we need to pick up, even if we see trash on the street, if it's our neighborhood, our community, we need to pick it up. Even if we see someone hungry and if we can help them, we need to provide that. We need to be a protector of the less fortunate, and we need to do our very best to help people. If a child can't read, teach that child to read. And if you need help, I will help you teach that child to read. But we need to do more for our community because the Black community is always last. So, and they say that we need to help ourselves. So let's come on board. Let's come and get the code of taking care of our own and helping our children to go into the next future and live a much better, high quality life. And I'm not talking about material things. I'm talking about the value system. How you think is how you behave. So please come online with us and let's build community, a good, thriving community. Michael?
Yeah. So when I think about that, and I think about all the churches that are in the area, in the Tampa Bay area, it's one church, Saba, that, man, I see their labor, and if I had $1 million, they can have it because they feed people every day, and that's the church on, I think it's A. Brown Church on 29th.
Oh, yes.
In MLK.
I agree. Robert Blunt.
So listen,
Right.
that church, man, I'd be willing to do anything for that pastor. If he called me and say, man, I want you to feed some guys, it'd be no problem because I'm in the fight with him. Because I see his labor for the community. I mean, it's the homeless people bring around there all the time, and it run by 12 o'clock, they always gonna have a hot meal. And that means so much to me. So when I see that, it makes me want to do more. I'm being honest with you. And so we got a lot of churches here in Tampa, but that's the only one that I see putting that serious work in, doing God's work.
And they didn't just start. They've been doing that for a long time.
Doing God's work. I don't know what the pastor driving, but I know some other pastors around here got helicopters and airplanes, but I don't see that work. I don't see that labor right there.
Right.
I ain't trying to go there with it, but I'm just saying, so if you listen to this and you're the pastor of that church, the A. Brown Church, call me anytime, and I want to be a part of what you got going on because I see the work that you're doing in my community, and I appreciate and respect and love it.
That's well said. And actually, we do need to recognize people who are actually doing God's work, doing the hard work.
Yes.
Right. Humanity.
Man, most definitely.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. A lot of times, like you say, we don't give them their flowers when they can smell them. You know what I'm saying? So I've been wanting to say that for a long time, but never had the format or the stage to say it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that guy, those people are not just the pastor is the leader, but that congregation, they got some good going over there. They working and they doing God's work, man, and it's so good to see.
Right.
You know, and if you ever just in the area and you think I'm telling you a falsehood, go by MLK and take a left, take a right on 29th or 28th, and you'll see at 12 o'clock what I'm talking about. It's life changing.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
You know, I've been blessed to go all over the Southeast, watching my kids play. LA, I went to LA, man, I couldn't believe it. The homeless population, man, it hurts to see it.
Yes.
Saba.
Yes.
So we got to do our part.
Yes.
And I challenged my son when he got out there. I said, man, you got to partner with Canes or somebody to get these people fed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't he wasn't there yet. You know what I'm saying?
So what I noticed, right, there is more nonprofit organizations in this Hillsborough County. And I also noticed there is more and more people homeless. I was just reading in an article the other day about a veterans and homeless shelter was getting $70,000 a month.
Wow.
A month. And they had been investigated for treating the veterans really bad and the homeless, right? And the institutions still continue to give them the money.
Wow.
So we got all of these nonprofits that are not doing the work. That's one example, but you can go out and find hundreds, because how we know they're not doing the work and they're getting the money is that things are not getting better.
Right.
That's how we know.
Right. And that's a shame for the vets, man, because anybody that served this country serve this country and come back home and can't get any assistance.
Right.
That's rough, So what we do here, we've been doing this at Konan for probably like 6 or 7 years now. My birthday is November 11th, Veterans Day.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've been feeding the vets for 7 years here.
Right.
We have Budweiser, this Bud for you. We have Coca-Cola.
Right.
We have everything. It is
right.
free. The whole day. I try to put a time limit, but some people get off base certain times. No, man. Anytime they come in that day, we take care of the food for them and the drinks.
And what we want to say is that this impacts family dynamics. What we're talking about, because you got all of these structured, approved programs out there, and we still don't see any improvement. We don't see any improvement. Matter of fact, this particular nonprofit, the government, the Veterans Administration give them $70,000 a month, and the program itself still charges the people to live there. And that was one of the things that came out of this. So we got a lot of institutions that are not actually doing the job. And we see that across the board. That's just one, there's many. And like I said, if our children cannot read, we have to take responsibility for that and develop programs and teach our kids to read. We can no longer wait on another institution. We have to educate our kids starting from day one. If they come into the world, we start nurturing and loving them and making sure they can read and get ready for school. So all of that impacts family dynamics. And if you say you have faith, then you know it's your job to do the very best for your children, for your community, for yourself. So please, let's change our narrative and be about our community, our children, and our future.
I can say this, I worked at a couple schools. Miss McDaniels was the principal at Robles, and Miss Royal. Miss Royal was the principal at James Elementary. So for parents that were struggling with helping their kids with their homework, we had a help room. So they would come there, and on our planning periods, teachers would be assigned to go in their help room. And I think Miss Royal and Miss McDaniel, I don't know who started it first, but we piggyback off each other, but we got it done. And we saw a big influx in academic progress with doing that. Because the parents, I guess goes back to saying again, we're parents for lack of knowledge. They don't know. A lot of the parents didn't finish high school, didn't have the education that they needed to help. I know it's elementary, but still, it's not the same math as it was when I was in elementary. But that rendering that little bit of help, sending that, formulating that help room for parents that didn't have the resources at home, didn't have a computer, to come in there and we'll assist them. It was great, man. The kids benefited from it. It was great.
Right. Education has always been a foundation in the Black community. It has always been, and I think it still is. Somehow our value system changed and we got disconnected. It used to be a pride that we would never send our kids to school unprepared to learn. So we need
Saba, could I just interject real quick?
Yes.
And I want to lose my train of thought on this right here. I think the problem with that is when we became more educated as a people, when we stopped to obtain degrees, masters, PhDs, we stopped educating our kids about their past because we felt that we arrived. They won't have to worry about that, and that's the problem. It's almost like we said at the beginning, talking about like how our grandparents and our grandmothers did things, We stopped that because we got degrees now. Well, they didn't have degrees. So we're not saying that we were better than them, but we are farther along than them. But our kids need to know where we came from to understand where we're trying to go. And by us educating ourselves a certain way, that got missed, in my opinion.
No, I think you're right. I'm just going to do a full disclosure. I was looking in the back in my history on my mom's side. My mom is from America, so I'm looking at her history, North Carolina.
Right.
And the first thing came up from her cousins, she was actually sharecropper.
Okay.
Okay? So So in that whole conversation, there was never any real school,
Right.
but her parents taught her.
Right.
So it shocked me. It really shocked me. I thought I was going to see something else, at least the generation before my mom, sharecroppers.
Right,
but
right.
my mom was a sharecropper.
Right.
Came from a sharecropper family.
Wow. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that tells us that through those hard conditions, they still took the time to teach their children.
No doubt. No doubt. Because in that point, education was going to be our only way out.
Right.
That's what they thought. And,
Right.
And that's always been, even for me, in my era, I'm 50, but it was saying education.
Exactly.
Or military.
Exactly.
But education was my choice.
Right.
And it's been a blessing, man. I'm blessed to have to obtain the education I have.
But the story I think is that we understand our past, right? We understand that. That's the story.
Yes, we do.
Yes, that's the story.
But when I try to tell Mike and DJ or Shane how hard I had it, sometimes they be like, "Nah, come on, Dad, man, you always everything gotta be so tough for y'all, man." They don't want to hear the truth. I said, no, it was really tough, man. Like they find it hard to believe that I may have had one pair of shoes and they look brand new because I didn't know when I would get the next pair, so I come home and clean them up, put them back in the box, put them in play shoes,
Right.
So they would have shoes. They won't even grow. They'll never get a chance to put the shoes on. They got so many pairs of shoes. I had to give them away, So it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But we got to educate those kids Still today, my kids are grown, but I still certain things that we're going to have a conversation because they need to know because they'll be better adults.
Right.
So it's not going to stop.
Yeah, and our past kind of helps us understand our future.
Right.
Sankofa.
Right. Right.
Help us understand where we're going from here and there. And when I look at my mom and I think about her, when I got my doctorate, I dedicated it to her.
Right.
So I think that we can do this. We can start today to educate our kids about their ancestors.
Right.
And what their future should look like.
Yeah, that's a blessing, man. I'm gonna tell you, my mom is in here right now working with me, not for me, with me. And that's just a blessing because she can sit down anytime she get ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna, talk my little smack. Hey, come on now, I'm paying you, girl, get up. You know what I'm saying? But she can do anything she want here and not be fired.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And not talk to any kind of way. She's the head. I mean, I'm the business owner, but that's my mama. And and I'm always gonna be her baby. You know what I'm saying? So, and I got my daughters back there. And my uncle. So it's a family establishment. But I just thank the Lord for blessing us with this, because I don't know where we would be. I would be probably teaching, but I don't know where they would be. Being hard time.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna tell you, education is great.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship is better.
Yes. I agree 100%.
If you want it, you got to go get it.
Yes.
And the Mary says, if you can't take it, you can't make it.
That's right.
That's it.
That's true. And that actually, that's, again, we go back to faith and family dynamics. That's all the teachings that we need to incorporate in making our children, our significant others, our community strong. We got to build something. We got to own something.
Right.
We got to build, own, and take care of our children. Teach, love them, and send them out into the world to do great things.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break right here, and we'll get back with you guys momentarily.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're back. For the second segment, we're going to let Miss Baptiste lead off, and we're going to follow them.
Right. So we want to now have a conversation about culture. Our main topic, again, to emphasize, it is about faith and family dynamics. And one of those aspects of talking about that in a broad perspective is understanding our culture and who articulates our culture, who teaches our culture to our children. Again, what is our culture? Can we elaborate on all the positives, or is it the good and bad? But is it worth understanding our culture, and how do we get our culture in our educational format and transfer it and teach it to our children? And instead, are we allowing social media to teach a culture to them that is not our culture? But since we are not good stewardships of our own culture, somebody else is teaching our kids. What you think about that, Michael?
Well, I always got to go back to my era. Mm-hmm. We didn't have social media, and it was no social media. There was no iPhones, was no cell phones anyway. We had beepers, of course. But the thing about that is, of course, we did what we saw people doing in the community. Everybody's shirt was tucked in. Everybody had on T-shirts underneath. They had an undershirt underneath their shirt. That was the way we did it in our culture. Mm-hmm. Everybody had low haircuts. There was no dreads in my era, and that's just what it was. But with social media, and for the most part, you can kind of give your kids direction for the most part, and I did that. But when they get age appropriate, they make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. When they make their own decisions, that's when the social media and all that takes place. You know what I'm saying? So, right. But from a standpoint, when you say culture, I like to get back to, like my kids wear a lot of designer stuff. Mm-hmm. Because they have money to be able to afford it. I can't afford designer stuff, but I got 3 kids. All my boys, they wear it. DJ Shane, Mike, mm-hmm. and Mikhail. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is, I told him, I said, man, why you wasting your money on $1,000 hoodie when? Wow. Yeah, $1,000 hoodie, $2,000 shirt. I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, because you or him, you can put on I'm a Gap guy, no labels. If you guys see any of my college teammates going back to Fort Valley State, they're gonna say, "Oh, you hit the Gap." Mm-hmm. Because if I'm gonna wear a polo shirt, I believe if I had a polo shirt on, this is my thinking. A guy go buy that same polo shirt because I had it on, but I'm not gonna get anything from that. No residual coming to me. Right. So I was wore a Gap and a Fonny because they had no labels. They know what it was. Right. I didn't really want anybody wearing what I wore.
Right. Okay.
So that was my approach, and I explained it to my kids. And it took DJ, my oldest son, he understands now, because now he wear outlet Nikes. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because now God has blessed him. He's a firefighter. He got a mm-hmm. great job, mm-hmm. great life, mm-hmm. and he values his dollar now. Right. But he's the first person to start wearing all those name brand designer stuff, and then Mike got a hold of it because of him. Shane got a hold of it because of him. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mikhail because of DJ. You know what I'm saying? So now he wears outlet Nikes. He's a Nike guy, but it's everything's more affordable. He saves his money. He values his money. So that's the thing. When you say our culture, when I grew up right here in Carver City with Konan's, and we'll recycle that black dollar 3 or 4 times before it leave the community. So I don't know no black designers. Right. So when they buying that stuff, they're not spending money with us, right? Making our community and our culture strong again. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And we got to get back to that.
But you touched on something that's very interesting. When we talk about culture, one of the things that reminds me is respect. Respect of our elders, auntie, mommy, daddy, sister, brother, cousin, how we get along with each other culturally. We always wanted to be with the family. We wanted to help the family to do better. The oldest child is responsible for the youngest child, Right. And so that's one of the real rich parts of our culture that we need to bring back and take care of our kids, each child take care of each other and make sure everybody is okay. And we didn't necessarily have really bad fights, you know. People would settle disputes, but they would make up. They would be friends, you know, unless you attach to some other situation. But the fighting and the disrespect of mother and father and uncles and all of that, you very rarely would hear about that. And we need to bring that back so that we can have people that have respect for each other, that we respect ourselves first and we respect other people. What you think about that, Michael?
Saba, you're spot on with that. And the reason why, because when I was raised, I was raised with my grandmother, and I'm pretty sure they had arguments, but I never heard one mumbling word. They were, whatever they said, it was in their room with the door closed.
Right.
Nobody came out with an attitude. My grandmother never disrespected my granddaddy.
That's right.
At all.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But today, you know, and I'm not talking about throwing nobody under the bus, but women just, and I don't know if it's the social media era, but it's older women that do that, talk crazy to a man and expect the man to stay there. No man will ever stay there for real.
Right.
If you disrespect a man, he out.
Right.
A real man's not going. You can't talk to a real man crazy, call him out his name, expect him to be there.
Right.
And a lot of women do that and think he's not supposed to go nowhere.
But that's again, we need to restore our culture, right? Restore respect for one another and understand that everybody in our culture deserve respect.
Exactly. So with that being said, like we always say, if you're looking at this podcast, no loss is just lessons. Don't get in your feelings. If this convicts you, learn from it and make the change. Make the necessary change that would better your life and your family life.
Right.
That's what it's all about. So, I mean, that is so key. But I want to go back to what you said about the family being back together, because I got to do a better job for my family.
Right.
Because as a kid, we always had a great time at my grandmother's house. We had to go to no park. We all be in the backyard. My grandma cooking, baking cinnamon rolls. We had frozen cups. We had a great time.
Right.
And my kids really don't understand that. They don't, you know, we go to dinner at Charlie's or something like that, but I want to get all my family back together like it used to be. It used to be a gang of us.
Right.
And we need to do that probably like once, or really today we need to be doing it like every quarter.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the big things that I always admired, I never had a big family, but family reunions. Right. Those that's a part of the culture. Well, and Sunday dinners. Right.
Well, so Sunday dinners definitely, and family reunions, but the family reunions today are now funerals. Have taken the place of family reunions, sadly to say.
Wow.
But that's when the family get together to bury a loved one.
Right. And so, again, we're letting society and outside influences push us away from our culture.
Right.
That's what we're doing. Yeah. And those are the things to bring the family back together, to love on one another, to respect one another. We need to make that conscious effort. It's not going to happen by itself. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And
it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
That's the thing, you know.
No.
It's like we had so many mishaps, and then we talk about it right now. Oh, you're a great fan. Well, I love you. Yeah, you don't love them, but love is an action.
Right.
You got to show that love. You know what I'm saying? And until we start doing that as a whole in the family, we won't get back to that great family dynamic that we're talking about.
Right.
You know, and I think that it's not hard. It's just like I said in the beginning, in the first part of this podcast. Nobody really don't know what to do. How to move. Just start doing something. Just start moving in the right direction.
Bit, yes.
Just start moving.
Yes.
Then that person that see you moving, they might come, well, he did it, I'm going with him.
Yes.
You know, but you can't be pushing if I'm pulling.
Right. That's true.
That's Andre Clark, my line brother.
Right.
Told his wife, you can't be, if I'm pushing, you can't be pulling. You know, you got to get beside me and push with me. We can get a whole bunch of stuff together.
Right. That's
you know
true.
That makes a lot of sense, man.
That's true. Yeah, and our culture is so important, because once we figure out what our culture is all about, look, we might not know, but the whole world know us, right?
Right.
Everybody want to know what we're doing, what's next. They come to us. So we have a culture worth saving. And I'm going to just say this. the 50th year anniversary hip hop was all about a culture too. How do we gatekeep our culture and make sure that we do the necessary things to honor and respect that culture?
Well, the thing about that, now you're talking about millions of dollars. You're talking about millions of dollars. I remember LL Cool J, they didn't really curse. They didn't call nobody no B-word.
That's
none of that.
true.
And they made good money. But when they start cursing out and degrading each other, they became billionaires.
Yeah.
So now how we going to overcome that? Because I know for a fact, my sons, they love NBA Youngboy. You know what I'm saying? I like Boosie. You know what I'm saying? But you got it's perspective. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. That they're making money. It's their job. That's not their real life. And I think that we get that kind of confused. We think, no, that's the way they living. No, they're not living that way, man.
They're not living that way. No.
Gangsters for real?
No.
Boosie a gangster, but NBA Youngboy, a gangster.
Right.
Yeah.
And so again, we have different aspects of our culture. We have the music, we have the food, we have the respect issue, we have bringing us together. We have all the ingredients that we used to do very well. We used to do it very, very well. And we need to get back to that, because one of the things I do know, we do love our children, we love our people, we love our community. So now we need to put that into action. Show it, do it, be about it, And so that's what I want to say about culture.
Yeah, that's big, Saba.
Yeah.
I mean, and you hit on so many key points. It's kind of, when I think about it, man, my mind is just spinning. So many different things that I really want to do right now. I almost want to say I want to have a block party out here. You know what I'm saying? In Carver City, try to bring everybody closer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot that you got to kind of.
Yeah, we got to try more love. We got to love on each other. We got to care about each other. We got to do that, because if we don't do it, who's going to do it for us? Nobody's going to do it for us. We have to do it.
Yeah, we have to educate these kids.
Yes.
Come on, you good? So,
yes.
So you see the people walking back and forth, man. Yeah. You got people walking back and forth. We were live at Konan's, you know what I'm saying? We chose this spot for that reason, man. It's God has blessed us with this business, and we just want to be a part. We want to do the podcast in here, so don't mind the guests walking back and forth. They paying the bills,
right?
They paying the bills, so we good to go. So
yeah. So I think we wrap that up for now.
Yeah. So hey, stay tuned. We'll be coming back. Not next Thursday. Thursday after that, man. Torres, we appreciate you, Saba.
Yes, thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
Same
and
here.
Before I leave, please remember the purpose of this podcast. No losses, just lessons. It's only for uplifting and educational purposes only.
Right.
Be blessed.
Right. Until the next time, Tampa and beyond, take care and find somebody to do some good. Thank you.
Yo.